G'day guys, I know I said I'd be taking an indefinite sabbatical from this series because of my life getting in the way, but of the few fans I do have still watching this series, I do really appreciate you guys, so I thought I'd sneak one more episode in just for you guys. Anyway, I'd only seen the film White Chicks all the way through once in my life, and it was more than a decade ago, and I thought, it's okay. Then a couple of weeks ago, me and a bunch of friends went out for my birthday, and after laser tag and quite a few drinks, I have no idea how we got on the topic, but one of us said, you want to go home and watch White Chicks? And we did, and it was fucking hilarious. So that's today's episode.
Ho 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 ho, delightfully devilish, Seymour.
Yes, everybody, welcome back to Delightfully Devilish, the show where we discuss films that all at once meet the criteria of being the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm your host, Jukebox Harry, and today we're going to be talking about a film which is the only example of racism in the world, according to the alt-right. White Chicks is a 2004 comedy film directed by Keenan Ivory Wayans and starring both Sean and Marlon Wayans. And somehow this movie actually started as a script called The Miltons, which was intended to be an all-black remake of Gone with the Wind set in Beverly Hills.
It does not make sense!
I have no conceivable idea how they went from A to B, but when you have 6 screenwriters who maybe had conflicting visions and you had to go through the entire Hollywood process, maybe this was just a compromise. Still, whatever the journey was, that's fucking hilarious that they arrived at this. Anyway, White Chicks was a movie made on a budget of $37 million. It also had the director of Scary Movie, which was for a while the highest grossing film ever directed by an African American until it was overtaken by Fantastic Four. It's easy to forget nowadays, but the Wayans brothers are actually credited with completely changing the landscape of black comedy because their sitcoms In Living Color and the Wayans brothers are credited with changing audience perception of black comedy. They're also the reason that Jim Carrey was brought to light because he was known as the white guy from In Living Color, and arguably he's the biggest star from the entire series. Now, the Wayans brothers, they've been hit and miss throughout their careers. Now, I love Scary Movie, and I get a kick out of Scary Movie too, even though it's a ridiculous movie. Admittedly, I haven't seen 50 Shades of Black or A Haunted House, but they're both pretty negatively received in the media. Case in point, they've done some funny stuff, they've done some maybe not so funny stuff, but I will always happily check out stuff by the Wayans brothers because I find when they hit well. And today we're going to find out if White Chicks is a movie that hits. White Chicks starts with the Wayans brothers pretending to be Hispanic racial stereotypes.
Can we get down to business?
I swear I heard him put a W in that word, business.
You got the money?
Aquí. Cuanta la mela. Aira cuanta la mela. Aira cuanta la mela.
Admittedly, I had no fucking clue what he was saying here. It turns out, however, that he is quoting arguably the most iconic Cuban song of all time, Guantanamera. And even though I didn't understand it, I fucking pissed myself watching this. They negotiated trade.
He say la 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 bomba. Ese testico tan poca de gracia.
I gotta say, this is a new racial stereotype I'm not familiar with. Hispanic people communicate by singing. Huh.
Is that a new stereotype?
They try and arrest the sellers, which turns into a fight. Except that they're the ones to initiate the violence, making this an act of police brutality. African-American cops using excessive force against white citizens.
Ha! The ironing is delicious.
And even though they emerge victorious, it turns out there isn't any bust.
Vanilla ice cream?
Where's the drug?
I know nothing about drugs. I sell ice cream, strawberry, vanilla, Neapolitan, for example.
I can think of another example you might have missed. Naturally, this doesn't bode well with the rest of the police.
Hello? Baby, I can't talk. The chief is chewing my ass right now. I gotta call you back, okay?
Gordon here. It's for you.
Thank you.
Uncle Leo?
Later.
Okay. So much for a hot meal.
If you were after a hot meal, why were you looking in the fridge of all places?
I can't believe you had me sitting here all night worried about you.
All night? Baby. It's only 8 o'clock.
Yeah, you're gonna learn pretty quickly they pumped a lot of negative stereotypes into the girlfriend character.
Look, after work, me and Kevin, we went down to the bar and we just had a couple of drinks.
I know. I called the bar. They said you left at 7:45. I checked MapQuest, Marcus. It only takes 6 minutes to get there from here. So if you've got somebody on the side, Marcus, you need to tell me.
Okay, I have in fact been in toxic relationships before with partners who are so controlling and paranoid that they'll come up with ridiculous things in their head. That being said, they tend to have a personality outside of that. Not a good personality, but a personality nonetheless. With this character, that is her entire character. It's a bit much.
I ain't gonna deal with this. I'm tired, okay? I had a long day at work. I got shot at.
Well, I imagine that's a pretty typical thing to happen in America, but normally it's cops shooting at African Americans, not African American cops getting shot at.
Well, well, well. How the turntables...
That's some bizarro shit right there.
Come on. Let's communicate, okay?
Okay. Let's start with last week.
Last week.
You and I were supposed to go shopping together.
Oh yeah, it's not like a stereotype would be allowed to have other hobbies.
I buy this beautiful dress. I get my hair done.
We're still not through the looking glass here, people.
You don't say anything. I don't know. Maybe you just don't want to... Marcus!
I'm not sure if we're meant to dislike Marcus in this scene, but considering she's a terrible person and he was literally shot at today, yeah, fuck off and let him sleep. Back at the police station, just like in real life, everyone's attention is getting drawn to the kidnapping of two white people.
We believe they are the kidnapper's next victim. Mr. Wilson has given us permission to shadow his daughters.
Determined to redeem themselves, Marcus and Kevin get themselves onto the case, tasked with the most unwanted job of picking up the girls from the airport.
Bags are on the plane. Take baby and clean out his bag. Oh my god, he didn't have his colonic and he like pooped everywhere.
Yep, this is the type of white people we have to deal with in this film. The entitled socialite.
Oh, dear God, no!
One of the worst offenders of our non-violent stereotypes.
Baby got a ride in the car seat. And where the hell am I supposed to sit? This ain't right.
I wonder how many people watching this scene saw an African American forced to the back of the car and couldn't help but think about Rosa Parks. En route to the Hamptons, the Beverly Hills Chihuahua gets out of the window and causes a crash.
Just get some makeup and cover it up.
Put makeup on this?
Yes.
I am so frickin' pissed. I am gonna call your boss.
Come on, you don't have to do that.
No, I am gonna call the owner of the company.
You want to speak to the owner of the FBI? Okay, hang on a second. Let me just get the phone number of the rich white elite. Oh, it's your father's number.
I'm gonna write a letter.
She really can't shut her mouth, can she?
They won't go. Hey, what's up, Chief?
What's up?
What's up?
With no other options left, Kevin surprisingly quickly comes up with the idea to call in the prosthetics team to come in and literally disguise them as white women. That idea came to him very quickly. I'm thinking he must have thought about doing this on a previous occasion. Now supposedly this makeover happens over a period of no more than 3 hours, and that is the amount of time it took to turn Faye Dunaway into Joan Crawford for Mummy Dearest. And we're meant to believe that these two were able to transcend race during that time. But whatever, if the plot is actually bothering you that much, then you shouldn't be watching a film called White Chicks in the first place. The two rock up, decked out in makeup designed by the makeup artist who was nominated for an Oscar for Mrs. Doubtfire. Yeah, the same individual that turned Robin Williams into a white woman also did the same thing for the Wayans Brothers. I love that so much. To its credit, the two actually do resemble their white counterparts. Granted, they look like they've gotten some plastic surgery, but that's also exactly what you'd expect from a socialite. And very quickly, they learn about the male gaze.
What you looking at my ass for? Nah, yo, hold my poodle. Hold my poodle. Hey, yo, what's up? Y'all got a problem?
We've had quite a few stereotypes about women jammed into this film so far, so it's fair that to balance things out, we get to look at how men can be trash.
What? What, boy, what? I take the both of you. Marcus, get out of here. I got this for you. Kiss my black ass.
And straight after being as black as possible, the Wayans go as white as possible.
The bag's in the car, Jose.
The name is Gomez.
Whatever. Yeah, great. Here, and take baby. Clean out his bag. Poor thing just pooped everywhere.
And honestly, having the chance to play both racial stereotypes in the context of one story, that actually shows off the comedic range of these actors. Say what you want about if you found this film funny or not, but you can't deny that the actors are really committed to their part of playing white chicks. And in the next scene, Kevin's boobs are phenomenally bigger, but whatever. We get a whole scene of Kevin reenacting the Wilson sisters freak out, and the whole thing is wonderful.
It's brutal. I'm gonna have a BF. Oh my god. She's gonna have a bitch fit. Now. I want to speak to your supervisor. Better yet, I'm gonna write a letter. You are in big trouble. Dear Mr. Royal Hampton.
When you think about it, this scene is perfectly structured into the film. If we didn't have that prior scene with the Wilson sisters freaking out, then we wouldn't have established the mannerisms of the characters or the fact that they're a believable stereotype.
Enjoy your stay.
Has anyone ever told you you look just like Denzel Washington?
Once or twice.
What a beautiful chocolate man. Beautiful.
I love racism.
The white chicks go and meet up with their real counterparts' friends, more white chicks. Then they get dragged to a socialite party.
And I never noticed how big they are. But I'd still bone.
Fucking white people.
That's Heather and Megan Vandergilt. Your sworn enemy since you were like, I don't know, 8?
It's plot exposition. It has to go somewhere.
Look who just flew in from the slums of Beverly Hills.
It's the Beverly Hillbillies.
The actress on the left is only 28 years old, yet somehow resembles a Karen who is pushing 40 and can't deal with it. Don't get me wrong, she's gorgeous, but ever since my nurse pointed this out, I haven't been able to unsee it.
We just saw your new video. Yeah, they had a screening over at Saks Fifth Avenue in the security office.
Your mother shops at Saks.
Oh, yo mama fight.
Round 1, fight.
Your mother's so dumb, she went to Dr. Dre for a pap smear. Oh! Something's wrong, Dr. Dre. My coochie's doing a beatbox.
This whole scene is such a relic from the past. I used to get into Yo Mama fights in primary school quite a lot, and I was undisputed. Simply because I could remember everyone from the Nutty Professor, and I could remember everyone that I'd heard from other people. I had a photographic memory, and it carried me all the way to the end. And I also think it was the fact that I was able to go on for so long that other people just got bored and walked away. So, yeah.
Undisputed! Well, your mother is so stupid, she exercises when she could just get, like, liposuction or something.
Your mother's so old that her breast milk is powdered. You breastfeed like this.
Your mother is so stupid that she goes to Barney's Rooftop Deck restaurant for lunch and orders a niçoise salad and calls it a Nicoy salad. Nicoy salad, right?
No! Your mother's ass is so hairy, it looks like Don King's about to pop out and say,
Only in America. Only in America.
The Karen squad eventually leave, so Kevin goes off to chat up a non-white chick while Marcus eats his way through all the quiche in the Hamptons.
If I wasn't mistaken, I'd think you were flirting with me, Miss Wilson.
Flirting with you? A girl? Never!
Fuck off.
Sorry, honey. I don't eat sushi. Strictly beef.
And again, fuck off.
You're really strong, aren't you?
From all that protein.
That's a hat trick. Fuck off.
You might want to slow down on the cheese.
Dairy? Cheese? Ladies, I think I gotta go to the bathroom.
Oh, good. We'll come in.
Move, bitch!
Okay, this is my second favorite moment in the film, simply because of the fact that Marcus goes from being the whitest chick to the blackest man just like that.
I don't know where they come up with this shit. It's pretty fucking funny.
And if you look closely, this line was poorly dubbed in post.
Are you naughty or nice?
Sorry, I'm not interested.
I'll take that as naughty.
Terry Crews is arguably one of the most positive male figures in Hollywood. He's outspoken about women's rights and about his experiences as a victim of sexual assault. And by contrast here, he is playing a textbook misogynist who won't take no for an answer.
Ironic. Tonight's the night. The Vandergeld Foundation's annual charity auction.
Ladies, you know what this means.
I'll finally get my refund for all the flights I had in Canada cancelled as a result of coronavirus.
Shopping!
Oh, that old stereotype. Yeah, I was way off.
Making my way downtown, walking fast, faces past, I'm homebound.
This song absolutely slaps. I never really enjoyed pop music growing up, but there has never been a moment I've disliked this song. I've done that cool cat joke in so many reviews and I just never get tired of it. But if this song really was their jam, I don't know why they turned it off like that.
I can't believe that you just said that.
So? Nobody's around. Yeah.
Now this is a scene you could never get away with in Hollywood today. I imagine those actresses must have had so much discomfort saying the N-word. But the fact that they got a free N-word pass from the Wayans brothers and got to sing the word alongside them, that must feel like such a privilege. I feel like in white culture, we mythologize the idea of an N-word pass, and the pass they were handed in this movie, that's fucking glorious.
Bush! Oh, nice!
Yeah, the film didn't escape transphobia, unfortunately. We get more female stereotypes in the next scene. Controlling girlfriend calls from the salon, no less, while Marcus forces himself into an outfit that's too small for him. And Lisa having a BF over her bodily insecurity.
Hi, I'm Cellulite Sally. Look at my huge badonky. Oh, and don't forget about me. I'm Back Fat Betty. Now, who could have said that? Oh yeah, it's Tina the talking tummy.
You know, this scene is actually an important one. Historically speaking, comedy films in Hollywood have been very male-dominated, and what few roles have typically been offered to female characters have usually been the girlfriend, or the wife, or the wet blanket who acts as a foil to the funny male characters. They never really get a chance to be funny. It's only in recent years that we've started seeing that starting to happen in full swing. Here, Jennifer Carpenter got given free rein to be over-the-top hilarious, and she fucking ran with it.
Somebody throw Shamu back in the ocean. Wow!
Okay.
There is quite a few scenes in White Chicks where the women actually get to be funny, but no one holds a candle to Jennifer Carpenter in this one scene. Seriously, I have loved her for a long time because she did incredible dramatic work on Dexter and in films like Brawl in Cell Block 99, among many others. But she can do comedy too, and she's fucking great at it. Later, we're at a charity auction. When Not Karen sets a new record with a $20,000 bid for a date, Kevin steps in to shake things up.
Yo, I got 2,000 right here. Ow!
I'm no geologist, but I'm pretty sure standing on someone's foot doesn't make them raise their hand involuntarily.
$3,000. $5,000.
Hey! You know what? Let me put this to the test. Ow. Nope.
$10,000.
$20,000.
Nope. Yeah, White Chicks is not scientifically accurate.
$50,000 cash.
3 hours later.
You call them all day long because you just want to know how their day is going, you know, and what they're thinking about, and if they're thinking about you. You spend all day trying to find the perfect outfit. And you even change your hairstyle just so he'll take a second look. But they never notice.
This film has spent so much time portraying women in such a stereotypical light that the sudden attempt to jam sentimentality in there, it's pretty shallow. Sure, the 6 screenwriters might have had admirable ambitions with this, they might have been trying to be nice, but it's not as good as they want to pretend it is.
Sometimes I just wish that they could trade places with us so that they would know how it feels.
Change places!
All done.
Really?
Yeah.
Apparently Marcus is so good that he didn't have to actually do the second half of her hair, they just cut all that footage.
Oh my god!
Oh my god. That got Canadian very quickly. After an extended sequence of Kevin playing with a dildo and doing everything except putting it in his mouth, some kidnappers come by who prove no match for him.
Those are the strippers, Raul and Tito.
It's not a bachelor party. What are strippers doing here?
I thought they were gonna kidnap me.
That's part of their routine.
Their routine begins by having them physically grab women and make them fear for their life. Yeah, the only thing these guys are strippers of is any credibility for themselves. Kevin is able to finagle a date, which adds a really tedious romantic subplot into the film. We didn't come here for any genuine kind of romance. We came to laugh at African-American men playing white women. And Sean Wayans stops playing a white woman for these scenes. This is the antithesis of the entire film. Marcus, on the other hand, finally has his date with Latrell Spencer, who just so happens to be a Vanessa Carlton fan.
And I need you. And I miss you. And now I wonder.
I've looked at this for 5 hours now.
Oh, sorry. Tongue is kind of big.
That is just fucking mental.
Throughout the entire date, no matter what Marcus does or says, he just can't repel Latrell.
Hey, that rhymes.
Oopsie, I had a poopsie.
Girl, we gonna get along just fine. Back at you.
right, I'll be there in a minute. Bye. Oh, Cottontail. I'm coming, nigga.
Then we're at a nightclub. Determined to get somewhere with Marcus, Latrell decides to actually pull a Bill Cosby on her. But with a distinct lack of subtlety, Marcus is easily able to dodge the bullet. And then a dance battle starts.
They're moving in herds. They do move in herds.
I tried to figure out what the rules were for this dance battle, but apparently it's just about who gets the most cheers. And I don't know whether the choreography was meant to be tacky dance moves, sexy dance moves, or just silliness, but whatever. The cast all go for it. When it seems like the Karen squad are gonna win, in comes Kevin and Marcus with breakdancing stunt doubles, which propels them to victory. But of course, it's Terry Crews that outdances everyone. I never ever want to forget that image as long as I live.
A few inches later. That's good. That's good.
Since the protagonists are cops, White Chicks is sure to fulfill the trope of the heroes getting busted by their own team, the chief removing them from the job, and then a brief moment of conflict followed by them saying, nah, we can do this on our own, and getting back to it.
I did it.
You did what?
I've got you into the fashion show.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Oh yeah, there's also a subplot about Busy Phillips' character being treated as a booty call by discount Rob Lowe. She eventually finds the self-respecting courage to stand up to him. He brushes it off before getting what's coming to him. Then there's a whole fashion show where Kevin and Marcus end up on stage with the people they're impersonating. And the Karens fall victim to the prom scene from Carrie before the kidnapping begins.
Good hang time, huh?
Daddy, what are you doing?
Heather!
Why are you doing this?
Why? 'Cause fuck 'em, that's why.
I've been funneling money out of the charity into a private account just to get us by.
All this exposition is wearing me out.
I got you, man.
This is meant to be a heroic moment for this character, and in some small way it is. That being said, Latrell has been nothing but toxic and incredibly rapey the entire film. So when he takes a bullet, it's very hard to feel sympathy for him. If Bill Cosby took a bullet for a good person, I would just say, good, I hope he bleeds out. Fuck that guy.
Are you telling me that you are not...
Yeah, I'm not a woman.
White? Oh, the deception!
What a twist.
The betrayal, man. You deceived me.
Calm down. I'm an FBI agent. I was uncovering a...
Negro, please. Someone get this jigaboo away from me.
Oh, what are you laughing at, Denzel?
Oh, what a beautiful chocolate man.
Hey.
And there is my favorite scene in the film. Lachlan Monroe from Scary Movie and Freddy vs. Jason doing an impersonation of Shawn Wayans doing an impersonation of the whitest chick around. And fuck, it's funny. I can't tell you how many times I've rewatched this scene on YouTube in the weeks following my last viewing.
Any man who would jump in front of a bullet for me can definitely take me on a date.
You hear that, Kevin? You just gotta keep taking a bullet for her on a regular basis, and apparently that's enough to sustain a relationship which was initially built on lies.
I'm guilty of paying more attention to my job than I do my wife. I'm guilty of not appreciating all the little things you do for me.
Yeah, don't mind me, guys. I'm just finding the phone number so I can call bullshit on this one. Maybe he could have been a bit more attentive to his partner and not so much to his job, but she is such a controlling and toxic person who has fewer dimensions than a character from a Paper Mario game. Damn, I'm actually proud of that one. When this token romantic moment happens, there has been little building up to it, and no reason why we should think that she deserves a good partner.
I'm not even gonna let him off that easy. Let's
Will
go.
you shut up?
Yeah, she never actually acknowledges any of her faults. She just kisses and makes up with him, and apparently that makes it all better. This relationship is not gonna last, and if it does, then God help us all.
So, you guys were pretending to be them the entire time?
Have you not been paying attention?
We liked Brittany and Tiffany, like, so much more when you were them.
Guess this means we won't be hanging out anymore.
Oh, don't say that. Of course we will. We'll hang out. Yeah, we're gonna all get together and we're gonna go...
You know, friendship is important, so that's a good spot to end it on. Anyway, is White Chicks a good movie?
Yeah.
Like Kung Pao Enter the Fist, White Chicks is a film that's basically one sketch worth of comedy stretched into feature length. Now, Kung Pao did an okay job, but other films like A Night at the Roxbury proved that this is not enough to sustain a film. And Master of Disguise did that too, but I still enjoy that film on an ironic level. Nonetheless, White Chicks, it manages to succeed. On the lesser side of things, White Chicks is too long. If you trimmed about 15 minutes out of the film and eliminated the 2 tedious love stories, then things would move along a whole lot quicker. Sure, the filmmakers have positive intentions with the protagonists learning their lessons about being honest or appreciating what they have, but it's jammed in there so haphazardly that it isn't worth it. If you won't commit to actual substance with the drama, then leave it out of a comedy film. If it was meant to make the characters more likable, then don't forget they already have a redemption arc, wanting to complete this mission to prove that they're good at what they do. They could have cut the love stories and amplified that for a couple of minutes. Again, it would have been tokenistic, but I would much prefer that over a tedious love story. Take a look at how the film Eurotrip is structured. It started with the protagonist breaking up with his girlfriend, but instead of moping around about it, it tried to fast track the journey to Europe so that the comedy would kick off. And most of White Chicks does move quickly from one skit to another, but the love stories slow everything down in between. Ever since I was a kid, I've been very critical of love stories in movies because they're so often tacked on. Even when they are the entire premise in romantic dramas, I am very often critical of them because it's just not enough for me. And in White Chicks, it's a textbook example of why you don't tack it on. Get it out of the fucking movie. If you do, it'll speed the movie up, make it faster and more punchy, and thus funnier. Nonetheless, White Chicks rises above other single joke movies by actually branching things out. If you look at The Master of Disguise, one of the reasons that movie failed on a non-ironic level was because of the fact that only one person in the movie was actively trying to be funny. It was a protagonist played by a comedian surrounded by people who were most known for their dramatic work. He ended up being the only funny one, and 9 times out of 10, that was purely for ironic reasons. In White Chicks, however, the protagonists are surrounded by funny characters. The Wayans Brothers steal the screen, but the 3 girlfriends are likable and often funny, in particular Jennifer Carpenter. The actual Wilson sisters are hilarious caricatures of entitlement, Lachlan Monroe and Eddie Valles make a hilarious duo, and Terry Crews is just perfect. Even characters who aren't necessarily funny alone still share great chemistry with our protagonists to make everything enjoyable. Jamae King and Brittany Daniel make perfect foils for our heroes, particularly in the Yo Mama fight, which is unforgettable. But the best part of this is that throughout everything, Marlon and Shawn Wayans are utterly hilarious. They take these roles with passion, playing the most stereotypical, entitled white chicks they can. They fill every scene with as much energy as possible, integrating physical comedy and hilarious line delivery into 2 performances that are more committed than the roles have any right to be. The Wayans brothers may not always make the funniest movies, but they are always consistently committed to their parts. And White Chicks is no exception to the rule. Honestly, it's some of their most committed. They take the ridiculous premise and run with it, as encapsulated by this scene where Kevin literally runs after a man taking his purse.
Geez, lady, all that for a bag?
It's not just a bag. It's Prada.
I find myself going through phases of being personally obsessed with certain comedic guilty pleasures. When I watched The Master of Disguise in 2020, I started quoting lines from that movie when I was teaching karate classes. Ever since I got into Eurotrip, I have not been able to stop saying Miss Guzzi. And with White Chicks, I could not get the lyrics to Guantanamera out of my head for weeks. I even went to a pool party in Shepparton recently where I managed to get people shouting the words, "Move, bitch!" just like the scene in the movie. Honestly, movies like this appeal to me because you don't need to invest energy into them. These are dumb, fun comedy movies that you can have on as background noise when you have people over so they can tune in and out of their own free will. These are movies that don't have high-stakes plots. They just have actors trying to be as funny as they can and a lot of quotable dialogue. And quotable dialogue goes a long way in comedy. Before memes were a thing, people would sit in circles quoting Anchorman for hours. And that is the gimmick that makes these movies stand out. And now we have to look at this film through a political lens, because race and gender are both 2 key themes in White Chicks. The premise is built upon stereotypes about entitled white women obsessed with vanity. Marcus's wife is too much of an over-the-top controlling girlfriend stereotype, and the rest are either romantic subplots, narcissistic villains, or background characters. The film does actively critique the toxic elements of hedonism that are synonymous with upper-class white culture, and it explores those through many of its stereotypical male characters too, critiquing male entitlement through similarly over-the-top stereotypes. But nonetheless, everyone is a caricature without substance, and so it's easy to see why people could find offense with that. Marcus's wife is particularly problematic. They take toxic stereotypes to the extreme with her and make her as aggressively dislikable as possible. There is no sympathy that audiences could feel for her, so when that forced conclusion comes at the end, it isn't just tacked on. It's aggressively fucking stupid, honestly. All this being said, I do want to refer to my previous point that women do get the freedom to actually be funny funny in this film. The women in this film are charismatic and they have amazing chemistry with the Wayans brothers, though I'll still never be impressed with any of the romantic interests. It's not the fault of the actors at all, it's just the writing. On a more lighthearted note, it's worth taking a look at the soundtrack to White Chicks. You have 1,000 Miles by Vanessa Carlton, Crazy in Love by Beyonce, Move Your Feet by Junior Senior, This Love by Maroon 5. The soundtrack to this movie was the soundtrack to my primary school years. These are all the tunes that I listened to growing up listening to So Fresh CDs. The sheer nostalgia I get from watching this film makes me so happy. And now we have to talk about the concept of racism in this film. Now, in the wake of what happened to George Floyd, a lot of streaming services were scrambling to take down anything that may have portrayed blackface. Even TV shows such as Community and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which had episodes exploring blackface simply for the purpose of critiquing it and condemning it, they got taken down. Now, that one I disagree with. But when it comes to whiteface in White Chicks, is that racist?
Perhaps not.
If you've been in political spheres talking about racism before, you've likely heard the phrase power plus prejudice, which theorizes that white people cannot be victims of racism because of their role in society. Now, growing up, I vehemently disagreed with this because I just thought that discrimination based on race was always racism. But as the years went on, I started thinking about it more deeply. And what I've come to understand is that racism is built on an idea of unprecedented xenophobia. If you think about the racism that white people have towards, say, people of color, it's because we have an inherent dislike of the other. And as a result of that, we've dehumanized people of color to the point where we have exterminated them from their native land in Australia, and in America, we took them from their homeland and took them over to use them as slaves. And even after that, that racism never went away. Even after slavery was ended, they've still been victims of systematic discrimination, police brutality, not getting the same rights, being judged differently. There's so many things that we could never consider. So, if people of color do have any kind of prejudice against white people, honestly, you can't fucking blame them. They've had it hard as a result of the imperialism that our patriarchal society has put upon them. And you cannot compare whiteface to blackface as a result. Blackface in Hollywood has historically been used to mock people of color, to promote horrible stereotypes about them, and to take roles away from them and give them to white performers. Look at The Jazz Singer. Look at the remake of The Jazz Singer. Seriously, it's fucking horrible. But if you look at whiteface, no, it's not the same thing at all. I can name 2 movies where whiteface has been used. This and The Watermelon Man, and that's more than most people will claim. When comparing white people's perception of people of color and people of color's perception of white people, you cannot disregard the historical aspects of it or the very roots of the xenophobia that has created the racist society that people of color are victims of today. So, if you actually think that there is a just comparison between whiteface and blackface, then that is not even apples and oranges. That is apples and a bootleg VHS copy of the lost episode of Viva La Bam. Yeah, I know that's fucking niche, but that is the crevice of difference that we're looking at here, people. Interestingly enough, Marlon Wayans was interviewed not too long ago and made a really good point on this subject.
The people that you send up or you make fun of, they should be laughing the loudest. You know who loves white chicks the most? White chicks.
If you want to argue that White Chicks is racist, then don't talk about its whiteface. Talk about the fact that it has people of color impersonating Hispanics. Now, I'm not a person of color, I'm not Hispanic, I don't think I can really delve into that and make any kind of statement about that. But if you want to talk about racism in the film, that's the area of discussion. If it's whiteface, seriously, just don't go there. As a final note, I actually had a wacky idea for a potential sequel to White Chicks a couple of years ago. Now, they have been talking about making a sequel for a while, but trying to get that movie made in today's landscape would be very complicated. Here's my idea. For some reason, our protagonists Marcus and Kevin once again have to go undercover as white chicks. But then for some reason, the people they're impersonating are once again in danger, and then they decide to go undercover as white chicks posing as people of color. So they wear whiteface and then blackface on top of that. And as a result, people around them take notice of the blackface and they condemn them, they shun them. They look at them and say, that's incredibly racist, even though they are people of color pretending to be white chicks, pretending to be people of color. It's layered and complicated, and it would take a lot of finagling to write it. But I gotta say, I think that's a good idea. And if you think so, seriously, put some comments down below. I'd love to get a discussion on this going. White Chicks gets 7 beautiful chocolate men out of 10. It is thinly plotted, 15 minutes too long, and does not need those romantic plot points. But with the Wayans Brothers' energetic passion in front of the camera and behind the camera, it is a highly memorable and quotable comedy, which is as energetic as it is proudly dumb. And that does it for today's episode of Delightfully Devilish, you guys. If you have any episodes of... if you have any ideas of movies that you want me to discuss on this show, please leave them in the comment section below. I'm not cutting around that, fuck that. If you want to see more episodes of this show, please hit that subscribe button. Otherwise, thank you for sticking with me on this long journey over these past few years. I will be back because I am not going away from this series. And I hope to be back soon. I have been your host, Jukebox Harry. Remember me.